Hi everyone, it's me, Arielle, and it's Wednesday Warriors, and today's topic is you're eating healthily, exercising moderately, and taking good care of yourself. People assume you are doing well, but inside it's still hard. How do you stay strong, and is this as good as it gets? I'm really glad that I have this topic because I have answered a similar question before, and I'm going to post the link to that video because I think anyone who's interested in this question will find this other video that I've done helpful. In short, no, this is not as good as it gets, and it will get better, but sometimes it takes a while. So you can't give up, and it is really hard when you are eating healthfully and maybe physically you look all right and people assume you're doing well but you're not inside because you sort of feel like a fraud, or you feel like you don't really have an eating disorder anymore, or maybe you're doing okay enough and maybe you're making too big a deal of things if you are struggling because hey, you look fine, right? And I understand all these things, and I'm not just saying that I understand them, I've lived these things, so I completely understand this question, and it really does hit close to home for me. For a really long time after I had gained weight and I was doing pretty well, I was in recovery and I was doing well. It wasn't that I was still struggling every single day, but even though I was doing well and looking well, and people were thinking that I was fine, it was still hard inside, and it's really difficult to put into words how it is living with an eating disorder when you don't look like you have an eating disorder anymore. And I think, it's something different for everyone. Some people with an eating disorder may struggle with their body image. Some people may struggle with numbers, for example, obsessive calorie counting, or their weight on a scale they get obsessed with. Some people may struggle with trauma or certain events in their life. And it's different for everyone, but the fact remains that even though a huge part of recovery is being well physically, it is not the only aspect of recovery. And it's really important to remember this if you are someone that knows someone who has an eating disorder. Remember that just because they look okay doesn't mean their life is 100% great, and they may still be working on a lot of things inside. When you are doing better and, life is starting to have more flavor to it again, but you are still struggling inside, it's really easy to think that this is it. This is what recovery is like. This is what I can expect to feel like on a daily basis. This must be what recovered is all about, when you look better and you feel better, but you still struggle with having the eating disorder inside, mentally and emotionally. And I dispute that. I don't think that that's true at all. I think there are a lot of people out there who they get better physically, they get somewhat better mentally, and they're able to live their life a lot better than they did when they were severely struggling with an eating disorder. But they're not really recovered because they still constantly struggle on a regular basis with eating disorder thoughts or pressures or triggers or behaviors even. Because we all know that even if we are at a healthy weight, we can still deal with a million behaviors of eating disorders in our everyday life. But there was a time where, as I was starting to say before and got off track a little bit, there was a time where I was doing a lot better in recovery and I physically was okay. I still could, have stood to gain a little bit more weight, but, I was pretty healthy weight, and I mentally and emotionally was doing better as well, but I still struggled. I still thought about what I was putting into my mouth. I still had that negative voice that was telling me bad things about my body, about my features, about my appearance, about anything, about my GPA, if that's how I was feeling that day, So all that stuff still didn't go away, and I still struggled with family issues and relationship issues and all kinds of personal issues that I was taking out on myself in the form of an eating disorder. And even though I was healthier than I had been at the onset of my eating disorder, I was not recovered. I was in recovery and I was making progress, but I wasn't recovered because I was still struggling. And to me, personally, I think that being recovered means that you don't struggle on a regular basis. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to have one day in 1,000 days where you look at yourself in the mirror and you have a negative thought. It doesn't mean that you might think when you're eating something for 5 seconds, oh my gosh, this is a whole lot of food. And, maybe it's a fleeting thought here and there. It doesn't mean that you don't ever think about the fact that you had or have an eating disorder again. That's not what I'm trying to say. But if you're struggling on a daily basis, that's not recovered to me. And it's a good thing that that's not recovered, because who wants to live their life with so much pressure and working so hard every single day in order to be happy and healthy? I mean, if you constantly were combating eating disorder thoughts and behaviors on a daily basis for the rest of your life, you would be so sick and tired of it all. You might just stop and say, I'm just going to give in to this eating disorder. This is ridiculous. I'm putting so much effort into everything to stay healthy, but the thoughts are still there. And a lot of people do that because that plateau period can be pretty long sometimes. But the reason I don't feel that that is recovered, and like I said, it's a good thing that it's not, is because I'm sitting here today and I'm talking to you, and while I am by no means a perfect person, I consider myself recovered. I don't struggle with the eating disorder thoughts. I don't have eating disorder behaviors. I'm a very healthy, stable weight. If I see how much I weigh, I don't care. I honestly don't care. I'm not just telling you that on YouTube to make an impression on you. If I would happen to see how much I weigh at a doctor's office, for example, and I gained 5 pounds from the last time I was there, I don't freak out. I eat whatever I want within reason. When I'm hungry, I eat. When I'm full, I stop. If I want to eat ice cream or candy or cake, I do that. It's not a binge, but I eat it. If I want it, I eat it. And I'm telling you this because it's possible, and it's possible for you. And if you want it, you can do it. Being recovered to me means you eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner and a snack, and you don't think about doing it. You don't have to force yourself to do those things. You do it as a natural way of life, as a healthy way of life, and that's the way you live your life. Recovered to me means that you are living the way you want to live, and it doesn't take an extreme amount of effort to do so. And, I remember the way that I used to be years ago, and I am such a different person. I mean, fundamentally, I'm still the same, which is the great part, because I don't think that you transform into someone completely different after you've recovered, but I think you sort of evolve. You become a better version of yourself, and I feel that I am definitely a better version of myself these days, because anyone who knows me now, who has met me since recovering from an eating disorder, would never in a million years know that I had ever struggled with an eating disorder. They see me eat what they eat. They see me not think about it. I go out to dinner with people. I don't have to know what's in the food on the menu. I can go out to dinner 3 times a week if that's what my life calls for at any given time. It doesn't give me anxiety. It doesn't give me the absolute terror and fear that it once did. And I used to really get down on myself and hate my body and hate things about myself, and I don't anymore. I mean, I think I look good, and I'm happy with the person that I've become, and I'm still becoming, and I have a lot of improvements to make. I'm young. I'll be 26 next month, and I have a lot of life to live, so I don't by any means think that I know all there is to know, and there's nothing left for me. So I'm excited to improve more and more as the years go by, but it's not hard work anymore. It was hard work for a while when I was recovering, and I was hoping for better days where I didn't have to put my full effort into everything just to wake up and breathe and have a good day and eat the right amount. And I've reached that point. So my point of all of this is to tell you that you can do this. And if you right now are in that place where you are looking better, you're taking good care of yourself, and people assume that you're doing well, but inside it's hard, and you're thinking, is this as good as it gets? No, it will get better. It will. I don't know when. I can't tell you when, but if you hold out long enough, it will get better. So I hope you guys will check out my other video from the past. I'm not sure exactly how old it is, but it definitely applies to this topic, so I hope you'll take a look at it. And I hope you're all having a wonderful week, and I hope you will tell yourself that you're worth this fight, and if you keep going, you're gonna make it one day. I wish you all the best.